of February, these are our main stories. Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will not return as working members of the British royal family, making a break with the institution final. Wealthy nations from the G7 are to help poor nations get coronavirus vaccines after criticism they're dominating supplies. Also in this podcast.
We lost power for 2 days. Our house was dark. We had no heat. We were all huddled around the fireplace because it was the only heat in the house. And after a couple of days, our girls said, look, school's been canceled for the week. Can we take a trip and go somewhere warm?
The Texas Senator Ted Cruz explains why he left his home state, which is in crisis because of bad weather, to holiday in Mexico. NASA's rover Perseverance is beginning its 2-year life on Mars after successfully landing on the red planet. So, what's its first task? And what's in a name? One of our presenters changes his to reflect a Sudanese Egyptian heritage.
A lot of people who I've known all my life just have no idea about that half of my identity, and it's something that's had a big influence on shaping who I am and my perspective of the world. And people were often quite surprised when it came up in conversations, and it was happening more and more.
It's been announced that Prince Harry and his wife Meghan will not be returning as working members of the British royal family. The couple, who now live in LA in the US, will lose all their royal patronages and honorary military appointments. They stepped down in March last year, and the plans were to be reviewed after 12 months. The announcement comes ahead of Meghan and Harry's Bill Tell-All interview with Oprah Winfrey. Angela Levin wrote a biography about Prince Harry. She thinks Queen Elizabeth has had enough.
I think that she's done it now. Brought forward from the end of March was the original decision because she's jolly fed up with their behaviour. The last two things that they've done have really upset her enormously. And I think she's very tolerant. She's not a micromanager. She loves her family. And then you cross a red line, and they have crossed it. They must know that.
Our royal correspondent Johnny Diamond told me that although this statement was expected, he suspects a fair amount of acrimony.
It's expected they wouldn't return, and I think it was probably expected that the appointments and patronages would not stay with them as well. I mean, they made it clear, the palace made it very clear in the negotiations at the beginning of last year that you just can't be half royal, you can't do half in, half out. And Harry and Meghan wanted out. It's painful for Harry. Certainly the military honorary commands are very painful to give up, and I think it's pretty clear he wanted to hang on to those in some shape or form. More painful, perhaps, in the immediate sense, is the exchange of statements that has come out, one from Buckingham Palace, one from Harry and Meghan's spokesperson. The Buckingham Palace one is a restatement of the Queen's philosophy, which is essentially, you're either in or out, pal. But the couple are clearly unhappy. I mean, they talk about how they are still committed to duty and service, something the Queen had mentioned about a life of public service. We can all live a life of service, the couple say. Service is universal, i.e. it's not just the royals that serve, The tone of this suggests a fair amount of anger beneath the surface. It's what could have been a formality has turned into a pretty open family row, one whilst Harry's grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh, is in hospital.
Do you think this decision has been made, this announcement, before this Bill Tell-All interview that Harry and Meghan are going to give to Oprah Winfrey?
No, I don't think they're connected. The timetable was always pretty clear. There's a 12-month review, a kind of safety net, in case it didn't work out for them when they went to LA, in case they had a change of mind, in case they wanted to adjust things. There was a review built in. The patronages and appointments were clearly part of the review. They were on hold for a year, and this is what's come out. And it was always going to be around March this year. It's more curious that it's become such sort of a subject of speculation that the parties have felt they need to put this statement out whilst the Duke of Edinburgh is in hospital, and again points to, and it's speculative, but it points to, I think, a fairly unhappy relationship between the two parties, the Sussexes on the one hand and Buckingham Palace and the rest of the royal family on the other.
I suppose a lot of people listening to this will think, well, they'll still have their titles, Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Why are they holding on to those?
Well, I mean, they stick with them whatever. Once you're made a duke or a duchess, good news, Valerie, you get to hold on to it. But this, make no mistake, this is a big deal, especially the Captain Generalcy of the Royal Marines. It's a really big deal for Harry. When it was handed over to him by his grandfather, the Duke of Edinburgh, he turned to Harry and said, "Don't cock it up." His father, the Duke, had held on to it for 6 decades. Harry was a military man. This will sting, and that shows, I think, in the statement they've issued in response to the palace.
Johnny Diamond. The leaders of the world's major economies are preparing to announce a dramatic boost in their contributions to the global vaccination effort against coronavirus.